time for Growing Hope, the show determined to grow up hearts open to pursue the extraordinary. Because you are extraordinary! And now, it's your host, Catherine Lang.
Hello there, and welcome to Growing Hope. I am Catherine Lang, your voice of encouragement, here to encourage you to live your best life. And there is nothing that sparks joy in me more than hearing that introduction every time we get to talk. And you are extraordinary, and it just delights me to hear it presented that way. Too often we let the world tell us that we are not extraordinary, and we begin to self-declare. You know, once somebody has told us that we're not good enough, or they make a comment about our hair or our clothes or our voice or our lack of singing ability or the lack of singing ability of the person next to us. I had that happen. I mean, somebody complained to the person beside me about her voice and it stuck with me. And for the next 30 years, I struggled to sing if there was someone standing in front of me because of the words somebody else declared over somebody else. It wasn't even about me. But how quickly we embrace what other people say instead of leaning into our extraordinary. And if we're going to live our best lives, we have to do it our way. We have to find our path. We have to walk out our steps. And we cannot do that by limiting ourselves according to other people's words or limiting ourselves according to other people's demands. We have to set our own path, and we have to choose to walk it out. So today we are focused on walking it out. We've been talking about how to dare to keep daring. When we're living our best lives, when we are doing what we are supposed to be doing, we have to dare to walk it out. We have to keep daring. And when we keep daring and we walk it out, we got to move it. we do stuff that ignites our energy and our joy. And in doing so, we continue to create strength for the journey. So as we're daring to walk it out, what we're going to do is we're going to first set a schedule. Second, we're going to do one more thing. Third, we're going to delegate. Fourth, we're going to take advantage of the little bits. Fifth, we are going to commit to daily progress. The easiest thing for me to do is to be consistent for a short period of time. It is the consistency. It is being consistent in my consistency that tends to trip me up. But if I'm going to walk out this pathway, if I'm going to live my best life, if I'm going to release the tethers that are holding me down to this world and the limitations of this world, and I'm going to take flight into my possibilities, I'm going to have to be consistent in doing what I know to do. We were recently talking about the scripture where Paul is talking about he can't do what he doesn't know to do. I mean, he doesn't do what he knows he's supposed to be doing, and instead he does the things he doesn't want to be doing, and it's just this continuous cycle. But when you read that scripture, he goes on to say, but then Jesus. So my excuse of I can't do what I'm supposed to be doing because, you know, my body, my flesh, my mind, whatever, that's a world limitation. But then Jesus. So once we step into the truth of whose we are and the power that comes from that, we don't have the excuse that we can't do what we're supposed to do. Just yesterday, it dawned on me that I don't get done what I'm supposed to be doing because I make choices otherwise. It is an intentional choice. When I sit down and I turn on the TV, instead of coming back up to my office and doing work, it is an intentional choice. The couch doesn't trip me and the TV doesn't turn itself on. It is my intentional choice. And so I had to confess to my husband yesterday that I know that I am not making intentional choices for obedience, which means I'm being disobedient. I am choosing not to walk out my best life. That's just not a fun thing to admit. It's on me. I'm not walking out my best life because of the choices that I am making. So therefore, I'm going to make better choices. And we're going to start by first setting a schedule. Now, here's the great thing. It's your schedule. You get to decide what it looks like. For me, I want to get up first thing in the morning, spend time in prayer and scripture reading. For a while there, I was being consistent and also then doing physical activity. But we had some neighbors move in. You know, those Canadian geese can be really ornery. And like 6 billion of them moved into the area where I was doing my walk. And they convinced me that maybe that wasn't the best place for me, or at least that's the excuse I started using, because that's what it comes down to. My choice. I have to make the choice to set my schedule and then follow my schedule. And I have a good friend that does block timing. I have another friend that does hour to hour timing. I am a little more flexible in how I do it. I kind of block hour time. In other words, I know what I need to be doing during this time, but I give myself flexibility in how it gets done. I did really well in writing for 15 minutes at the top of every hour that year that I wrote 1,000,000 words in 1 year. So I'm going to go to that in a different pattern with 20, 20, and 20. I'm going to break my hour into 20-minute segments and allow myself to do different things to keep my motivation going, my creativity going. But find a schedule that works for you. You need discipline, and you have to have discipline to keep your determination and motivation going so that you can get to the place where you're bringing your dreams to life. But if your schedule does not work for you, you will not put your schedule to work. So find a schedule and a system that works for you. You can go over to catherinelang.com. You can check out the focus folder system. It is very easy to personalize that process to work for you in different seasons, in different times, and in different ways. The second thing we need to do is one more thing, just one more thing. So when you're finishing up for the night and you see that piece of trash sitting on the table, just pick it up and throw it away. If you if you start up the stairs and you know something needs to go up the stairs, take it up with you. One more thing. Now, don't let one more thing become a continuous thing. So after you do one more thing, don't do one more thing and then one more thing. And then, because then you never go to sleep. And for some people, that doesn't work well. And for those of us who can go without sleep, it doesn't work well for the people around us because the next day we're even more hyper. So, but do one more thing. And all that's doing is challenging you to keep the momentum moving, even as you're going to bed, even as you're stopping the project, even as you are finishing the work week. What you're doing is preparing yourself for the next day. So your one more thing could be to put your schedule together for the next day. Normally, I get up first thing in the morning and I plan my schedule. But if I hit a situation where I'm running behind, that schedule never gets touched. And once I don't set my schedule for the day, I'm all over the place, which is really scary when you think about it, because I'm a little all over the place anyway. So when I have nothing to kind of keep me anchored and focused, then it can get dangerous. But when I do one more thing at night and I take the time to really think about what my day is going to look like, then it makes my day run smoother. When I start down the stairs and I take something down the stairs that needs to go downstairs, or vice versa, then I am one little bit closer to where I want to be. So when you are looking to walk out your unique design and live your best life, think about committing time and committing energy to doing one more thing. Every little bit that you do brings you closer to where you want to be, and it keeps you going for the next day. The third thing that we are going to do is we're going to learn to delegate. You do not have to do everything. As a matter of fact, you're not supposed to do everything. But here's the trick. If you delegate something to somebody, you have to allow them to do that something their unique way. It is not your way. It is not yours anymore. You have delegated it and you have given it to them. The only exception to this rule is if they are not doing what actually needs to be done. So, if you tell your child to go clean their room, you have to trust them to clean their room in a way that works, that is actually clean. Or if you tell your son to dust the countertop, if you then go downstairs and there's dust all over the countertop, and he did actually dust, well, he's not dusting correctly. It's not that he's not dusting your way, it's that he's not really dusting at all. So we need to have a lesson on how to dust. And then we trust them to do it their way. If I want my yard mowed and I hire someone to do it, I delegate that job to someone else, I have to trust that they have the capability of doing it correctly. Strike that. Doing it correctly is relative. I get to determine correctly for me. You get to determine correctly for you. Again, short of actual scientific and rules and laws in place. 2 + 2 is always 4. That is the correct way to do 2 + 2. There are probably other ways that people come up with 2 + 2 and answers, but that doesn't make them right. So we want to find the right path, trust the people to do the right thing that we've asked them to do. And then we have to be okay with them doing it their unique way. Because once again, we're each unique. If I'm delegating this job to somebody else, I have to allow them to fulfill the obligation in their unique way. But I have to be brave enough and bold enough to delegate the things that can be delegated so that I have the time, the energy, and the resources to do what I need to be focused on doing. The fourth thing is that we're going to take advantage of the little bits. So often we just completely forget the little bits, especially these days when we have the 24/7 entertainment usually in our hand. When we have a little bit of time, what do? We start flipping through that phone, looking at social media, texting, listening to music, whatever. But we are completely outside the realm of purpose, intentional activities. We are now just there, just existing. But if you grab hold of all these little bits that we have along the lines, then you will end up making up a huge amount of time because your little bits add up. They don't always look like it, but if you spent the best example I have is that year that I wrote a million words. Imagine that in just 15 minutes a day, actually less than 15 minutes a day, because not every day did I get to do my top of the hour writing. And every top of the hour I planned to write, but most top of the hours I didn't get to. But the fact that I had consistently written at least 15 minutes a day led me to the place where I had written a million words, a little bit at a time. When you devote that 5 minutes that you have to doing even a part of a chore, by the end of the day, you have done the full chore. If you devote 5 minutes to filing those papers that have been sitting there stacked up for a year and a half now, then eventually those 5 minutes will eat away at the stack until the stack is gone. If you devote 5 minutes to going through those boxes that you've had packed up since the last move, a decade ago, then eventually you'll get rid of all those boxes. 5 minutes a day. You don't have to complete the whole project. You're just going to take advantage of the little bits to get a little bit of the project done. Little bits of energy, little bits of time. These things add up when they are utilized to make the big changes for your journey. And they get you closer to walking out the life that you want to live. And finally, the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to commit to daily progress. Just today, I'm going to progress a little more. I am going to take advantage of my little bits. I'm going to delegate to folks and trust that they get it done. I'm going to do one more thing. And I'm going to set a schedule. And, since I'm being honest and forthright, this is the first time I can remember in my married life that my husband went to the grocery store and I didn't worry about him calling me. I didn't even think about it until he got home from the grocery store, and he did it all by himself. He is fully capable. I know he's fully capable. And yet we worry. We fret. We make jokes about how our husbands can't go to the grocery store on their own because we get caught up in those words. But when we commit to this daily progress, we can look at, hey, look, all on his own. I completely can delegate this and not worry about it. I don't have to tell him what to do. Ooh, what a concept. We do not have to tell people what to do. That is a huge daily in progress for me. I am not responsible for telling other people what to do, particularly when I can't even tell myself. So we're going to commit to this daily progress. Find something today that you can start improving on. What is it that you can do? What is one little bit that you can add to your day? And then we're going to daily add to those little bits until we're to the place where we are walking out our best life. If you don't dare to walk it out, if you don't find your way to move it, then you're never going to move. And this time next year, you'll be looking at your life and you'll be in the same place, or worse, you will have fallen further back. The only way for you to get from where you are to where you want to be is to step it out. You have to walk it out. You have to choose to do what you know to do each and every day. And that's how you get there. Without that choice, without that step, you don't. So in order to walk it out, you're going to set a schedule. We are going to set a schedule. We are going to do one more thing. We are going to delegate what it is that is our weakness. We talked yesterday about the weaknesses and strengths. So we're going to delegate the things that are our weaknesses. We are going to take advantage of all the little bits that are scattered around us. We're going to gather them together and let them make big changes. And then we're going to commit to the daily progress. It's great to make resolutions. It's great to have, it's important to have the big dream goals. It is important to have quarterly goals and yearly goals and all of those kind of goals. But if you aren't making the daily progress, then you will struggle to get to any of those goals. The daily progress is, those are the little bits that add up to the big dreams. So set a schedule, do one more thing, delegate, take advantage of little bits, and commit to daily progress. When you do that, nothing's going to hold you back. We're going to walk it out. We're going to live our best lives. We're going to keep on keeping on until we turn this world upside right. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Growing Hope. We are on this quest. We are on a quest to untether ourselves from the world and take flight into our possibilities. If you are struggling in any way, please reach out to me today. You can find me over at catherinelang.com. There's a button there, schedule your free call. And remember, please share out the video or the audio, however you're listening, share out the platform, and then like and subscribe as well. I look forward to hearing from you about your journey. Contact me on social media, through the email, whatever way zings your heart. We are uniquely designed on purpose for a purpose. Let's dare to live that purpose out. Let's dare to take flight of our possibilities. We can when we dare to keep on keeping on. Until next time, remember, be blessed and be a blessing.
Thank you for joining us for Growing Hope with Catherine Lang, where we're sharing hope, encouragement, and inspiration to do more. Visit www.catherinelang.com to invite Catherine to be part of your event or to share your own stories of possibility living. Until next time, remember that a seed of hope planted and nurtured will grow up into a world of possibilities.